The hospital billing clerk had already printed the final notice when Rowan Mercer realized he had less than 6 hours to find $5,500. His 8-year-old daughter, Elodie, sat by the bright hospital window with a brave smile that hid how frightened she really was, clutching a stuffed rabbit she had owned since preschool. Across town, while he emptied his savings account, sold the only watch his late father had left him, and begged for one more extension, the woman who had once promised to stand beside him forever signed papers for a luxurious beach house overlooking the ocean. She wasn't just any wealthy stranger. She was his former wife, the celebrated CEO whose success filled magazine covers while the father of her only child wondered whether love alone could keep that child alive another day. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances still matter in this world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a thoughtful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel so our community can continue sharing stories that remind us humanity is always worth believing in. Rowan had never imagined his life would become a series of impossible choices. Years earlier he had been a gifted architectural designer with a promising future, admired for creating practical buildings that made ordinary people feel seen instead of forgotten. During one of those projects he met Vivian Clark, a brilliant corporate strategist whose ambition seemed limitless. She admired his quiet confidence while he admired her fearless determination. They built a beautiful marriage fueled by dreams rather than money. When Elodie was born, Rowan believed his life had reached its happiest chapter. Their little family laughed through tiny apartments, old cars, and second-hand furniture because they had something far richer than luxury. They had each other. Success, however, arrived unevenly. Vivian's career accelerated faster than anyone expected. Within a few years she became one of the youngest CEOs in her industry. Interviews, investor meetings, international conferences, and constant travel slowly replaced quiet family breakfasts. Rowan willingly accepted fewer professional opportunities so someone could always be home with Elodie. At first they agreed it would only be temporary. Then temporary quietly became permanent. Rowan became the dependable parent who attended every school event, every doctor's appointment, every bedtime story, while Vivian convinced herself she was sacrificing time now to provide a better future later. The distance between them never arrived through dramatic betrayal. It grew through unanswered messages, forgotten anniversaries, cancelled vacations, and conversations interrupted by urgent business calls. Eventually they stopped arguing because arguing required emotional energy neither believed remained. Their divorce unfolded politely, almost professionally, leaving everyone around them assuming they had separated without resentment. The truth was far more painful. Rowan never stopped loving the woman Vivian had once been, while Vivian convinced herself emotional attachment only distracted people from achieving greatness. After the divorce, Vivian agreed to generous monthly support, but she gradually became less involved in Elodie's daily life. She rarely missed birthdays entirely, yet often appeared only long enough for photographs before another meeting demanded her attention. Rowan never criticized her in front of their daughter. Whenever Elodie asked why her mother had left so quickly, he always smiled gently and explained that important work sometimes called people away, but love could still remain. Then came the diagnosis. Doctors discovered a rare heart condition that required an urgent specialized procedure not fully covered by insurance. The remaining cost was $5,500. For many families it might have been difficult. For Rowan, who had exhausted savings caring for Elodie through months of appointments, it felt insurmountable. He worked every available daytime shift delivering groceries, assembling furniture, mowing lawns, and repairing homes. Pride disappeared quickly when measured against a child's heartbeat. He accepted every honest job offered, often skipping lunch so Elodie could enjoy fresh fruit after school. Yet despite endless effort, the amount remained just beyond reach. When he finally contacted Vivian, he didn't ask for revenge, apology, or reconciliation. He asked only for help saving their daughter. His message remained unread for hours. Later that afternoon, social media exploded with photographs from a luxury coastal property purchase. Reporters praised Vivian's newest investment, describing the spectacular beachfront estate with floor-to-ceiling windows, private gardens, and breathtaking ocean views. Financial commentators admired her business instincts. Thousands congratulated her success. Rowan looked at the photographs only once. The purchase price exceeded $12 million. That he quietly locked his phone, not because he hated her, because hatred required strength he needed to save for his daughter. The next morning sunlight poured through the hospital windows as Elodie watched children playing outside. She noticed the exhaustion beneath her father's smile long before anyone else did. She gently placed her small hand over his. Instead of asking whether everything would be okay, she asked whether he had eaten breakfast. That simple question nearly broke him. Children somehow sensed pain. Adults spent years trying to hide that he promised he had eaten, although he had not. She nodded without believing him and quietly divided her untouched muffin into 2 uneven pieces, pushing the larger half toward him. In that silent act of generosity, Rowan realized his daughter had inherited everything truly valuable from both parents. She possessed his compassion and the determination Vivian once carried before success hardened into obsession. While Rowan continued searching desperately for help, something unexpected began happening across the city. People remembered him. An elderly widow recalled the winter he repaired her collapsing porch without charging because she couldn't afford it. A retired teacher remembered how Rowan had redesigned the school's wheelchair ramp during weekends after learning one student struggled. Every morning. A young firefighter remembered Rowan donating architectural expertise free of charge after a community center suffered storm damage. None of those people had realized how much he was struggling because Rowan never advertised kindness. He simply practiced it. One by one, stories spread, not because anyone wanted attention, because gratitude finally found its voice. Meanwhile, Vivian toured her newly purchased beach house with investors discussing future developments. Every room reflected extraordinary luxury, yet something felt strangely empty. She noticed a framed family photograph still tucked inside one unopened moving box. It had accidentally traveled from storage. The picture showed Rowan holding toddler Elodie on a windy beach years earlier while Vivian laughed beside them. Nobody in the photograph looked wealthy, nobody appeared famous, everyone looked genuinely happy. For the first time in years, Vivian struggled to remember the last afternoon she had spent with her daughter without checking her phone. Her assistant quietly informed her that journalists wanted photographs celebrating the purchase, instead of posing immediately. Vivian stared silently at the forgotten family picture. Something inside her shifted, not dramatically, not instantly, simply enough to make her wonder whether she had confused achievement with fulfillment. Later that afternoon she finally opened Rowan's message. She read every word twice. There was no accusation. No guilt. No anger, only a father asking another parent to help save their child. Her hands began trembling. She immediately called the hospital, when informed Rowan had already left searching for additional financial assistance because time was running short. Vivian experienced a feeling more frightening than any corporate crisis. For years she believed missing moments could always be repaired later. Now later threatened to disappear forever. She rushed across the city under bright afternoon skies, arriving just as Rowan sat outside a local bank after another loan rejection. He looked older than she remembered, not because of age, because carrying impossible hope every day changes a person's face. Neither knew how to begin. The silence between them contained years of disappointment, sacrifice, misunderstanding, and love that had never completely vanished. Vivian finally understood something painful. Rowan had never asked her to choose him over her career. He had only hoped she would never choose success over their daughter. Without speaking further, she transferred the required funds directly to the hospital. The procedure was immediately approved. Relief washed across Rowan so suddenly his knees nearly gave way. Yet even then, he thanked her instead of criticizing the delay. That unexpected grace hurt more than any accusation could have. The surgery took place the following day beneath bright morning sunlight streaming through operating room windows. Hours passed slowly for both parents, sitting separately before eventually finding themselves side by side. For the first time since their divorce, titles, wealth, pride, and old disappointments meant nothing. They were simply frightened parents waiting for good news. When the surgeon emerged smiling, explaining the operation had gone exactly as planned and Elodie would recover well, Rowan covered his face with shaking hands. Vivian cried openly. Neither cared who witnessed their tears. Recovery brought more than physical healing. Vivian began rearranging her priorities with the same determination that had once built her career. She delegated responsibilities she had stubbornly refused to share. Weekends became sacred family time. Investor meetings no longer replaced birthdays. Success stopped being measured solely through profits and acquisitions. She quietly sold the extravagant beach house only months after purchasing it. The proceeds funded a charitable foundation helping parents afford emergency pediatric treatments when insurance fell short. She named the foundation after Elodie's stuffed rabbit because she wanted every family to remember that behind every medical bill stood a frightened child hoping to go home. Rowan never returned to the marriage. Some wounds heal into wisdom rather than romance. Instead, they built something equally meaningful: trust, respect, healthy friendship, shared parenthood. Elodie flourished surrounded not by perfect parents but by two imperfect adults finally choosing what mattered most. Years later, during a community fundraising event held beneath warm afternoon sunshine, Vivian watched Rowan laughing while teaching children how to build tiny wooden birdhouses. She realized the richest person she had ever known had never possessed the largest bank account. He possessed something money could never purchase. A heart that remained generous even after life repeatedly tested it. She approached quietly and thanked him, not merely for raising their daughter with unwavering love, but for refusing to teach Elodie bitterness. He could have filled her childhood with resentment. Instead, he filled it with compassion. That decision changed all three of their lives. Elodie eventually grew into a confident young woman who often told people that her greatest miracle wasn't only surviving heart surgery. It was watching forgiveness rebuild a broken family in a completely different form. The lesson spread far beyond their own lives. People donated more generously, employers created emergency assistance funds for workers facing medical crises. Neighbors looked more carefully at families silently struggling beside them. One father's quiet perseverance inspired an entire community to remember that kindness rarely announces itself with headlines, but its impact echoes for generations. Before this story ends, please leave a meaningful comment sharing one lesson you believe every parent, child, or family should never forget. Your words may encourage someone reading the comments who desperately needs hope today. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. As the afternoon sun painted everything with a warm golden glow, Rowan watched Elodie run freely across a park with healthy laughter filling the air while Vivian smiled nearby, no longer chasing the next promotion but cherishing the moment she almost lost forever. They had discovered that true wealth was never measured by beach houses, executive offices, or magazine covers. It was measured by the hands we choose to hold when life becomes unbearable, by the forgiveness we extend when resentment feels easier, and by the love that quietly refuses to disappear even after hearts have been broken. In the end, the greatest home any family can ever build is not made of glass overlooking the ocean, but of compassion, sacrifice, hope, and second chances that stand strong through every storm.